Hello again, and welcome to my channel, A Weird Sister. I'm everyone's weird sister, so I've made a channel on exactly that. Anything that you wouldn't feel comfortable talking to anyone else about, I'm a weird sister, so everything that you say to me is not going to blow my mind. The painting that you see behind me, I'm not sure if I pointed it out in my last video, but this is one of my originals. And this is on my page, Baducci.co. So there she is. I have other originals. Maybe I'll rotate them behind me, but that's one of my originals. So you can check that out at Baducci.co. It's in my bio. Today's topic and video is on being disliked. On my prior video, Everyone is a Lesson, Good or Bad, I was thinking about that, and I think that we need to also look into being disliked on the whole. A lot of times people think, they have to be liked in order to achieve success, and that's not always the case. There's a lot of people who just go about, success through just being professional, doing what they need to do, getting the references that they need to get, making the goals attainable for themselves, etc. But with the goals that we have in society, it's not put that way. Those people that are entrepreneurs, that are actors, that are writers, that are successful business people or business tycoons in their own industry, they weren't always liked. It's okay to be disliked. A lot of times people hate their guts, or they think that their ideas are completely outlandish. But who's going home and sleeping in a mansion? Who has an entire team? The weird people, the outcasts, the people that thought of things differently. Those are the people that you need to look to, not the people that are the most favorable, not the people that claim, loads of success. Look at the people that are not well liked, but still pushing through, and you'll see that their methods are usually something that within 5, 10, 15 years are something that's applied by the normal and well-liked people. Because eventually, one of the normal and well-liked people sat with that person or that group and said, this actually makes a lot of sense. So just know that that's a programming from society. Being liked is not something that you need. It's not essential. It's not a requirement. It's not anything that is true. The loudest person in the room doesn't mean that they're right. And the most successful person in the room doesn't mean that they're liked. These are things that you should probably think on. The loudest person in the room is not always right, and the most successful person in the room isn't always well liked. This was something that was brought on early on in early 19th century psychology by Alfred Adler. And what he pretty much said was not well liked by other psychologists and psychotherapists of the time, that we're not supposed to be attaining goals at everyone else's level. We are only supposed to be competing with ourselves, with our own purpose. And you're like, well, what the hell does that mean? That means whatever looks like success and happiness to you, not rich fancy cars, not rich fancy houses, not the career your parents want for you, not the program your professor thinks that you should be a part of. It's what does that look like for you? For me, right now, success is working in herbology, working in mortuary science, maybe pursuing law, and pursuing my other ventures as I see fit. That is success for me. And if I can make any or all of them profitable, I'll be able to sleep with myself at night. You know, my dad, who's one of the more influential people in my life, um, he always said, just make sure you can sleep with yourself at night, whatever you do. And that's how I live my life with the other principles I discussed in my other video. But if you're going to make a decision, make sure it's the right decision for your purpose. Make sure it's the right decision for you and your group. And don't care about being liked in the process. If you know you're going to catch some flack for it before you try it, and they can't see your vision, those are usually the people I've found halfway through it that are like, wow, this is a really great idea. Or they're profiting from it from you in some way. Maybe they become your assistant. Maybe they become the person that passes out flyers. Maybe they become, your publicist or somebody that's going to be publishing your art in a magazine. Real life examples for me. But when you present those things, they might not always like it. They might think, that's really stupid. I don't know that that's necessarily going to work. One of my idols, Andy Warhol, who I have here on my mug, my Campbell's mug, he was called crazy for painting soup cans. It's 2025. He's on my mug. He's everywhere. You can't go anywhere without looking at pop art and not knowing about Andy Warhol. He's a genius in his own right, and he founded his own genre of art, and quite literally brought the art world together to understand how it's supposed to function. A lot of the principles Warhol did, and I have a BA in art history, so 5-minute education lesson. A lot of the things that we see today in the modern art market are because of Warhol, along with other artists, but Warhol was the most prominent in the 60s. And he wasn't liked. Another person that wasn't well liked was Kodak, with the Kodak cameras. If you look at the Brownie cameras, if you look at the process that he had for his film, for his distribution of cameras, for how he was as a manager, which if you're a manager, that will show you every way to not be a manager, because Kodak was not fun to work with. Kodak had a lot of labor violations. Kodak was not the best guy. He wasn't savvy in that sense. And his downfall was that he didn't employ more people around him or care to listen to ways he could have said things nicer, done things better, and understood process. But he didn't give a shit about being liked. And his cameras were the most successful out of everything that we've seen so far, and paved the way for Canon and all those other, companies out there that do photography. But the Brownie and Kodak were some of the first that really revolutionized. You can hold it in your hand and you can take a picture. You can not have to worry about your film waiting to develop. You can have it right here. And then that paved the way for Polaroid, and that paved the way for other companies. Okay, we're turning this too much into a history lesson. Anyway, but with that, they didn't care. And they did whatever they had to do to push forward, to make it happen, to understand what needed to be done, what needed to be said, what needed to be acted on. And if you're trying to stay in your current situation and you know that there's ways that you can maybe make things better, don't be afraid to speak up about it, because speaking up is always going to get you the answers you need. Remember from our last video, everyone's a lesson, good or bad. So how they treat you, how they respond to your ideas is inherently going to be a lesson for you with that. But also, It's going to show you that you have the confidence of you don't care if you're disliked. You know, Queen Victoria was one of the more successful queens of the British Empire. And she wasn't always liked, but she paved the way in England's economy to make it happen. You know, she was accused of being many things, but she pushed forward and she did what she had to do. And when you look at these people, when you look at these leaders, when you look at what success looks like, you see that the person that has to be successful catches a lot of flack. And that's because this whole world revolves around how bad do you want it? What are you going to do about it? It's not going to be handed to you. It's not. They can develop as many apps, as many softwares, as many tools and trades, but every time it's going to come down to that principle. That is something that is so organic, it cannot be manufactured with artificial intelligence. It cannot be manufactured with just a tool or an app or a software. You're still going to have to figure out how to use it, what to do with it, where you picture yourself with it. Or if you have some other kind of purpose, maybe you want to open a horse ranch. Maybe you want to, become a paralegal. Maybe you want to go and start your own website selling t-shirts. What are you going to do about it? And are you going to care if you have people that think you're crazy? Maybe you try a new dye in your t-shirt business and it's glow in the dark and color changing, and people don't necessarily think that's a good idea for whatever random ass reason. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to not take that chance? Entrepreneurship and being in control of your life thrives around that one principle. What are you going to do about it? How bad do you want it? Do you give a shit about being disliked? It's going to challenge every kind of people-pleasing, conforming thing that you have, which is ironic because you don't need that reference or that validation from people that you think you need it from that professor, from that person at work, from that person over there in the corner. You don't need it from them. And when you think about that, and that it all inherently is on you, you're like, holy shit, it's actually all on me. That's fucking terrifying. I don't know what I'm doing. You don't. But the only way you're going to know is if you figure it out. And you just start by starting. And you just go for it. And you just try it. And you know what? You're going to fuck up. You're going to make mistakes. People are going to laugh at you. People are going to think you're weird. Oh well, that's them. And when you think about those things, just remember that Eleanor Roosevelt said people would care a lot less about what other people thought if they knew how seldom people actually thought about them. Those aren't her words exactly. I'm parsing from memory, but she did say something to that effect. And people don't really think about you. There's 6 billion people on this planet. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Make it happen. They're going to care about you when they see you continually doing what you said you were going to do, what you set out to do. And if they call you weird, if they call you strange, if they call you different, this world thrives on that. The whole world thrives on people being different. Do you think every actor or writer or artist or fashion designer is normal, has it together, had a clear-cut path of I went and did this, and I pursued my academy, and I went to acting school, and I went to be a writer. And now here I am, and I'm super successful, making millions of dollars. Absolutely not. I can promise you that's not the case. I can promise you there's been multiple moments in their lives where they've had some low lows and they've had some high highs. And that's just how the world works. One summer, I was eating Ruth Chris Steakhouse one day, and the next I was in the middle of El Paso and selling security systems door to door, eating tacos from the street. That's how the world works. One day I was eating Goober Grape. The next day I was at some Scottsdale club presenting my paintings. That's how the world works. It's up and down and all around. And no one cares until you make them care. Being weird is okay. Being different is okay. Being disliked, totally fine. They don't have to like you. They don't have to understand you. They don't even have to respect you. But if they're going to listen to you, they have to listen. They don't owe you anything. And you don't owe them anything except proving what you're about. When you're speaking, it would be nice if they could just listen to you. But some people don't always have that level of morality. So there you have it. You don't have to be liked. You don't have to be respected. You just have to keep pursuing and going for it, and making it happen. One of my key phrases is making it happen day by day, because that's what I do. I make it happen day by day. And when you think about those things, think about, what does success look like to you? Now that you know, now that you understand that to be successful, you don't have to be liked. You don't have to be respected. You don't have to have validation. And you're going at your own pace. What does success look like to you? Not to your mom, not to your dad, not to your boss, your best friend. What does it look like to you? And how do you intend to make that happen? Me personally, I sit with myself, and like I said, I do my paper, and that works for me. But if you need to go find your purpose, take a trip, meet some new people, then there you have it. That's all you need to worry about. And I just have my notes here. So that's what my notes are. But that's all I wanted to share today. Because I think when we learn that everyone's a lesson, good or bad, we also start to think about and reflect on ourselves, and we start to reflect on being liked, and people don't like me for this reason, or people don't like me for that reason, and does that make me a bad person, and where do I fall? You fall wherever the hell you see fit. And no one owes you anything, and you don't owe them anything. The only thing that you owe anyone is yourself and a purpose and the ability to sleep at night. If you can go to bed and you can sleep at night with the decisions you are making actively in your life, and you know you did everything you could do to make that day happen, there you have it. And let's say you had a shitty day. Let's say your day wasn't ideal. Let's say you didn't close your leads. You didn't make quota. You didn't handle a call well. You didn't meet with a vendor like you thought you would. You let yourself down. Oh well. You can try again tomorrow. But when you criticize yourself with those things, also remember 5 good things and write them down. 5 good things you did do that day. I got up. I got dressed. I made sure I had a roof over my head. I was nice to people at work. You know, I did everything I thought I could do today. I allowed myself time to rest. I took care of myself, even if it meant not achieving a goal today. If you can do that, then you did a good day. Good job. You don't need to be crazy successful every day. I can assure you the people that are not. There's no one that's successful every day of the week. It's impossible. No one has that kind of time. No one has that kind of energy. And I know my blanket's falling behind me and I don't give a shit. That's my level of IDGAF on this channel. But I'm doing this video and I'm talking to you and I'm making it happen. So go and make it happen day by day. Don't give a shit about what people think about you. Just go and pursue what you need to pursue and have a wonderful week. Thanks for visiting my channel.